The drama in the second half came right at the death. Charlton, in fact, thought they'd won it in the first minute of added time, when Johnnie Jackson made it 2-1 to the hosts with a fine header.
Hit hard by injuries, a patched-up Carlisle gave Charlton a 3-goal start, then nearly pulled off a stunning comeback, only to suffer late heartbreak. Johnnie Jackson put the Addicts in front midway through the first half.
Now to the playoffs in such heartbreaking fashion 6 months earlier. Johnnie Jackson's early strike set the Addicts on their way.
With the spot kick. Just the start Charlton wanted as they chased their 4th successive league win, as the defence chased shadows again. Nobody bothered to pick up Jackson, who duly accepted his 2nd of the game. Peterborough's humiliation was far from over. Charlton
continued their irresistible form once Johnnie Jackson had set them on their way against Yeovil inside 11 minutes. A neat first-time finish following Lee Martin's cross. In a game, now he's done it in successive matches, and this one ensured Charlton's 5th league win in a row.
His first round embarrassment for Charlton last season when they were beaten by Northwich of the Conference North. Wagstaff! Decent save by Tyler, and Jackson's following up, and Charlton are back in front.
A steal, we really have got a steal, and the belief does come from the manager. You know,
It's a penalty for handball against Andy Bond. Former Colchester star Johnnie Jackson never looked like fluffing his lines. 2 apiece with his 9th goal from his last 10 matches. A happy homecoming indeed.
Here goes for Racon for Reed. Reed's cross, looking for Martin. Here's Johnnie Jackson, deflection, in. It came off Morrison, but I'm sure Jackson will claim the goal. Swindon furious, but Charlton lead. New owners have cause to smile. Racon driving on, Reed's cross blocked away. And Jackson, they thought, I think, a handball there by Jackson before he got the shot away, but Paul Benson here, there's the hand. And then when Jackson shots, comes off Morrison, then loops up high and over. And Smith could not get back to make the save. It's 1-0 Charlton.
5th goal in 4 league appearances had Charlton 2 up after only 6 minutes. The crowd would have a lot more clapping to do in the second half. 12 minutes after the break, Johnnie Jackson had Charlton back on level terms. And just 2 minutes later, Chris Powell's men
Jackson did the necessary from the spot. Not hard to see why Charlton are one of the promotion favourites.
Firing on all cylinders after their perfect start to the season, Charlton were in front by half-time against Scunthorpe. Johnnie Jackson's opener set up by Brad Wright-Phillips, who's rarely off the score sheet.
The bit between their teeth and claimed the points a quarter of an hour later. Dale Stevens guided the ball into the area, and this time it was Jackson who made no mistake with the finish.
Defenders. By the half-hour mark, Chesterfield were 2 down. Charlton's second far too simple from their perspective. Skipper Johnnie Jackson had the home side.
The referee unmoved, Johnnie Jackson unflappable, 1-1.
There was glad to see the back of it. The leaders simply unstoppable as they started the new month with a bang. Captain Johnnie Jackson, the driving force behind a dominant display, helped himself to his 2nd to put Chris Powell's men in total command. Not content with a 3-goal lead, Bradley...
The second half, Halifax. But once Johnnie Jackson puts this one in, he gets a slight deflection past the goalkeeper, Simon Eastwood, which is a little bit unlucky. Gets a little bit of room there, the first one into Hayes. A little bit too much because he miscontrols it, but he's still able then to have a look at Jackson, who's got another little pocket of space. Not closed down quick enough. Once he gets onto his left foot, which is very strong, then he's always going to work the goalkeeper from there, and a little deflection.
Having survived that scare, a peach of a free kick from captain Johnnie Jackson had Chris Powell dreaming of a crucial win on his 1st anniversary.
Result of this close-fought battle. But the Addicts are now 7 points clear thanks to Johnnie Jackson, who cut the other half of the Steel City to size for a 2nd week running.
Jackson scored from 12 yards, his 10th league goal of the season. Less than a minute later, Charlton were given another penalty for Luke Chadwick's foul on goal scorer Jackson. Jackson scored again to make it 2-0 at the break. Midfielder Johnnie Jackson added another for the London club.
Up a first away win of the season in the process. After a goalless first half, it was skipper Johnnie Jackson who steered the Addicts ahead. But almost immediately, it was 1-1. The skipper atoned for his penalty miss by diverting Danny Holland's shot into the net, and the home side were deservedly level. But what then transpired will never be forgotten by those who witnessed it. With the Middlesbrough hammering still fresh in everybody's minds, and with Charlton once again in disarray, the home fans knew this was the time to really get behind the team, and how their faith was rewarded. After Johnnie Jackson had halved the deficit, the skipper astonishingly made it 2-2 moments before the break, and the half-time interval did nothing to disrupt the home side's momentum. Former Watford loanee Johnnie Jackson headed home what proved to be the winner, to the delight of the Addicks fans behind the goal. As instead, it was the Addicks who did just that. Johnnie Jackson's shot may have lacked power, but it was certainly accurate. Charlton did go ahead early in the second half. Johnnie Jackson stylishly finished this fine move, and it looked like the Addicks were on their way to a fourth straight victory. Youngster Callum Harriott, making his first start of the season, set up Johnnie Jackson's leveller. But just as they'd done against Cardiff on that never-to-be-forgotten night in November, Johnnie Jackson led from the front, halving the deficit following the sacking of Neil Warnock. Former Addicks midfielder Neil Redfern was placed in caretaker charge for this game, and it was a match that came to life after the break. Johnnie Jackson blasted Charlton ahead 2 minutes after the restart. A lovely solo effort from Johnnie Jackson made it 2 quarter of an hour later. Johnnie Jackson then added the finishing touch to a sweeping move. He was significant because it ensured that he finished as the club's top scorer ahead of Kermagant as the Addicks campaign ended in style.
Charlton look for something to try and give them hope. Jackson was in the middle here. Well, how about that for an impact? I mean, it's a great delivery, and he just times his run to perfection. Johnnie Jackson meets it absolutely perfectly. It is a bullet header in off the underside of the bar.
The Addicks made a sensational start. Captain Johnnie Jackson's close-range header got the Valley buzzing, his second league goal of the season.
And then came the sucker punch for the Blues, caught out by a well-worked free kick. Ademola Lookman and Tariq Holmes-Dennis tore down the right. The cross into the box was perfect, and Johnnie Jackson did the rest. That's the Charlton captain's third league goal of the season, and now back-to-back wins for caretaker Karel Frey. He
looking to shoot from distance whenever possible. Here's Crofts once more. For Jose, space opens up here, and there's the equaliser. Charlton are back level. Johnnie Jackson.
Well, Johnnie Jackson got the second of the night and his second of the season with this. but it was definitely Holmes's night.
Games, but that 341-minute run was ended when Oxford's Phil Edwards handled in the box and Johnnie Jackson fired in from the spot.
The club's fans are angry with the owners and there hasn't been much inspiration on the field, but they were on form here. Johnnie Jackson put them 2 up by the break. Surprising.
Ricky Holmes will take the resulting corner kick. Moves into a very dangerous area. And Charlton Athletic lead is Johnnie Jackson. Captain's goal. Well, the home fans enjoying the moments, and quite rightly so. Ricky Holmes with inviting delivery into the box, but Jackson still had a lot to do, and he did it expertly.